Hey guys, it's me, the Record King here, and today I am ecstatic because we did it. We hit 300 subscribers. I could hug and kiss all of you consensually, no homo. But no, I have something special planned, a very special treat, if you will. My top 10 most wanted death battles. But before we do start, I do want to personally thank each and every single last one of you. I wouldn't have made it this far without all of your guys' support. So thank you, all of you, for getting me this far. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Anyway, y'all better grab your snacks because now, let's get ready to rumble in the jungle! Okay, I know I'm gonna get roasted for that awful joke. Anyway, number 10 on my most wanted death battle list is Chompy versus Piranha Plant. And the reason why I want this death battle to happen is kind of basic, but it's a good for starters. The reason why I want this death battle to happen is because both of these two are Piranha Plants and I want to see which one of the two is better. Not only that, I actually thought it would be a good idea to get this concept out for like the first ever Plants vs Zombies death battle, since I noticed they never actually did them, which is honestly a shock to me. So I figured why not change that with, well, Chompy and Piranha Plant. Like, it's actually a good idea on paper, since not only are both of them Piranha Plants, they're both actually pretty similar. Since both of them are direct attacks, they can both easily like chomp at each other. But of course it's not going to all be biting, since both of these two actually have, well, their own abilities and their own movesets. But that's not all. Apparently Chomper is multiversal, while somehow Piranha Plants... Wait, I'm fucking sorry. Continental level? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but ain't no way. I thought he was multiversal. Never mind, this is a one-sided death battle. I can't believe I wasted my time on this. Okay. That's a lie. To be honest, there's also another reason why I want this death battle to happen. Because I see it actually being like either a 3D or 2D death battle. And that's something I would actually be very interested to watch. And not only that, you already know how I said this before, but it would actually be a very interesting concept to like do for a Plants vs Zombies death battle, and I figured this would actually be a great way to start. But number 9 is where my personal bias gets the best of me, and curse you childhood nostalgia for this one. Pea Shooter versus Red. Oh man, I still remember back in my childhood that this used to be an argument. Oh, kids would get into fights over this. I'm not even joking. Okay. Anyway, aside from the nostalgia and childhood arguments, the reason why I want this death battle to happen is because both of these two are iconic for the mobile gaming industry, and I always wondered who would actually win between these two. The Angriest Bird versus the lovable pea shooting minigun. And I cannot be the only one that thinks that they're going to do like 2D for this one. And I would not blame them, since I feel like that would be the best course, since I feel like the animators are going to have a fun time making these two do like wacky things during the death battle. And I wouldn't even blame them. And I definitely see them like doing a bunch of references for both sides. Like for Red, they could do Angry Bird Space or Star Wars. And for Pea Shooter, they can like reference the comics or like the different planes of existence that the Time Machine does in Plants vs Zombies 2. Overall, I want this death battle to happen to see what kind of wacky things they are willing to do for this episode. And frankly, I'm all here for it. But if you guys want a serious battle, look no further than Blue vs Caesar. Two of the most popular franchises, Jurassic World versus Planet of the Apes. And frankly, there's a whole lot I want to say about this. For starters, the reason why I actually want this death battle is because I want to see personally, how would they even do this? Would they like get Caesar and his most trusted apes against Blue and her pack? Or would it just be like a one-on-one? You know what? It's most likely they would make it a 1v1 just to make it fair. Not only that, they would 100% do it in the forest, because how else would this death battle happen? And I genuinely see this being a battle of strategies. Basically guerrilla warfare versus stealthy predator behavior. And genuinely, it actually makes sense considering these two's history. Like, Blue is an intelligent velociraptor with an IQ almost that of a skilled hunter. And Caesar is one of the most intelligent apes of all time, since he's literally the leader of the biggest tribe of apes I've ever seen. Not only that, Caesar's actually a very good and skilled strategist when it comes to battle. Same thing can be said with Blue, since, well, she was able to survive and hunt prey on her own, without a pack, mind you, for a good year or two. I don't remember specifics on the other movies, so apologies in advance. But that's not the only reason why I want this death battle to happen, because I genuinely remember at one point in time, the internet actually had a debate over this. Like, people wanted to know who would win between prehistoric lizard versus intelligent ape. Okay, that one I made up, but you gotta admit, that was kind of clever. Like I said, kind of clever. But still, this would be a very interesting battle of modern ape versus prehistoric dinosaur. Like, that would be a battle for the ages. Just like how number 9 would be a battle for the ages. Oh, who am I kidding? This battle is basically one-sided as fuck. And there's only literally one reason why I wanted this death battle to happen. Okay, that's a lie. There's basically 3 reasons why I want this death battle to happen. Because I actually want a good versus evil death battle this time. I know there's actually some people that are going to tell me, oh, but they already did a few of these. Actually, yeah, that's true, but I genuinely want this death battle for a reason, because I want the symbol of peace versus the symbol of capitalism. Lol. Not only that, I genuinely see them either going what they did for like the Omni-Man route, where they just make it like a 2D animation, or just like in All Might's first death battle. I genuinely believe they would go 3D if they could. And as I already mentioned before, I already know this is a one-sided fight, but hey, why not do one-sided fights for the lols? They basically did it with Goku versus Superman and SpongeBob versus Super Friends Aquaman, for Christ's sake. Alright, I already did both of the reasons. Now it's time for the last one. The reason why I want this death battle to happen, because okay, we all saw Deku versus Miles, and we all know the joke. Both of these two literally lost in the first death battle that they were in. And frankly, I actually saw this running gag before, where it was like a loser's bracket. And to make a long story short, as you can already guess, that joke basically implies whenever 2 characters that lost their first death battle for the first time end up having like a redemption match or a loser's bracket match. Which is actually kind of funny when you think about it. I mean, it was for like Miles versus Deku. Or Eggman versus Dr. Robotnik. And a couple of other examples, but I think at this rate you already get the gist of it. Not only do I want to continue that little running gag, but also I genuinely want to see who would win between these two. Like, both of these two actually lost their first death battle, with All Might losing to Might Guy, even though it was a badass battle. Rest in peace, my man. And Homelander losing to Omni-Man. You deserve it though, bitch! Also, hear me out on this. Who wouldn't want to see, like, the most corrupt superhero versus the most moral superhero? Like, you tell me you would not want to see this match with a straight face. Number 6 should probably bring back some memories, since I actually said something about this death battle a while back, and if I remember correctly, I said if you wanted this death battle, then you would want to see who would win between these 2 greedy businessmen. And honestly, that kind of stuck with me, because I genuinely do want to see who would win between these 2 greedy businessmen. And I know there's going to be someone in the comments saying, oh, he just wants another Disney versus Nickelodeon death battle, or this is one-sided as fuck. To which, yes, I already know that. While this is a one-sided fight for Mr. Krabs, it is rather an interesting one. It'll be like putting a treasure hunter against a Navy SEAL. Get it? Because Mr. Krabs served in the Navy and Scrooge McDuck has been the world's best treasure hunter? Okay, that was bad. You can shame me for that one. Okay. Anyway. I do want another Nickelodeon versus Disney death battle, and I feel like this would be a very good one, since both of these two have similar qualities to each other. As previously mentioned, they're both greedy businessmen. Not only that, they both sailed across the seas before, and both love a good adventure here and there, and they both have stories to tell. Not only that, there is actually a whole lot they could do for this death battle. They could do something similarly to Shovel Knight versus Scrooge McDuck, where like Mr. Krabs finds like a bunch of treasure everywhere and just like picks it up, and when he sees the mother lode, oh my god, that'll be hilarious. And as you can already guess, this could either be like a pixelated fight or a 2D fight, since I feel like it would be like one of those two. And not only that, I kind of want to see what Scrooge would do against Mr. Krabs' Toon Force, since I know Scrooge has a lot of weaponry up his sleeve. Not only that, I kind of want to see how Mr. Krabs would actually try to surpass Scrooge, since Scrooge has been around way longer than Mr. Krabs has, and has been on far more great adventures than Mr. Krabs has ever been on. And plus, who wouldn't want to see two of the most greediest men go toe-to-toe against each other? And yes, I know this is a one-sided fight again, but it's a one-sided fight that could be interesting. Hey, are you still watching the video? Why not subscribe and like the video, and turn on notifications so that way you don't miss a single upload. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to try something new. Anyway. Now we're on my top 5 most wanted death battles. And there's already no need to say who's number 5, because it's Max Steel versus Ben 10. I know someone's gonna say this is one-sided as fuck, but I don't give a shit. It's my list, not yours, deal with it. Okay, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but when I was a kid, I would always request Death Battle to do this one for so long. It makes sense. Both of these two have similar mechanics, with both of them turning into different things. Well, for Ben, it's turning into a bunch of aliens. For Max, it's a bunch of turbo modes. Not only that, both of these two actually have like similar stories, with both of them being heroes at a young age. Max being a teenager, Ben being a 10-year-old kid. Plus, I always wanted to see certain modes and aliens go at it, like forearms against turbo strength, accelerate against turbo speed. The list can just go on and on forever. Okay, sorry about that. Had something stuck on my throat. Don't worry, it's all taken care of now. But yeah, the list can basically just go on. And that's not all. I actually see Death Battle doing this as a 3D Death Battle or a 2D Death Battle, depending on how the budget works. But most likely they're gonna go with a 2D route instead of a 3D. Okay, I am getting sidetracked here. Not only do I hope that it's either a 3D or 2D match, I also want this death battle for another reason. Because I want Ben to redeem himself after his last death battle, aka his first death battle, which is the most hated death battle to date. I'm not even joking, look it up. Ben 10 versus Green Lantern. I am frankly amazed there's actually a death battle that is hated as that one. And that is saying a lot. So I figured, why not give Ben a redeem match, which is basically what this is. A redemption match for Ben 10, so that way they can put respect on my boy's name and possibly give us a good death battle. And also because Max Steel, the reboot, surprisingly enough, is underrated as fuck. Which is honestly kind of sad because this was actually my childhood. Hence why it's at number 5, since both of these cartoons are basically my childhood. Up next for number 4 is actually another one that most of you might recognize. Jack Hanma versus Bane. And this death battle, you can already guess the reason. The Battle of the Steroid Gods. And I know most of you have seen this battle before once on your shorts feed. And let's be honest, we all want to find out who would win here. The guy who can fight dinosaurs or the guy that broke the bat. And before most of you correct me saying he fought a guy who can defeat dinosaurs, that's kind of the same thing, since Pickle was a prehistoric man. And this death battle could actually work in any way, like 2D, 3D, or pixelated like they did for Bane's battle against Venom. Plus, if we're going to introduce Jack Hanma into a death battle, it better be with another steroid user, because Venom is considered a steroid. Oh yeah, fun fact. Actually, Bane's steroids are called Venom. Yes, even I'm still shocked about it. Not to mention, both of them would definitely like to see which one of the two is the strongest, thanks to Jack always looking down on his opponents, and Bane always ready to throw these hands. Not only that, both of these two basically have the same story, but difference is, one of them was sent outside in the real world, other one had to suffer for the father's sins. Technically Jack has a similar aspect, but a bit differently. Also, both of these two actually are good martial artists, but fun fact, one of them mastered the perfect martial art for him, and the other one created their own. If you can guess which one it is, you get a pin in the comments. Anyway, just to make a long story short, both of these two basically have a lot of fundamentals and similarities to actually make this a very good, intense, and hard matchup to rank. It's gonna basically come down to feats and their own skill, and kind of like a quick draw match. Kind of like who's gonna get the killing blow first. And that's kind of why I actually wanted this death battle, but the real reason and the simpler reason is because I want to see who would hold the title of the Steroid God, hence why it's at number 4. Now we're on the top 3, baby. The top 3 death battles that I want the most. And number 3, you can already guess, is Heavy versus Zarya. This death battle I actually wanted for so long, not only just because, well, because of the Tracer versus Scout battle. Okay, it's because of that. I actually wanted another Overwatch versus Team Fortress 2 death battle, and I figured why not do that with the most iconic heavy Russian tank characters, aka Zarya and Heavy, aka Misha. No, seriously, that's actually Heavy's real name. Go figure. And I figured this would actually be an interesting death battle, and it actually is for multiple reasons. Both of these two are similar aspects, one of them working for the government, the other one being a mercenary, both of them being incredibly strong, tanks of their own verse, have done some incredible feats of strength, and it actually makes you wonder, which one of these two powerhouses of Mother Russia will come out on top, drinking the victory of Arka. Okay, sorry. I had to do that in a Russian voice. But to anyone who is Russian, I am deeply sorry if I offended you while I did that. Sorry in advance. Anyway, as I was saying, while this would be a really cool death battle to have, I also wanted this death battle so that way Team Fortress 2 can get a little bit of a second chance against Overwatch. Sure, there's actually other characters that I would have wanted, but this one to me is actually very personal, since I actually enjoy playing Heavy in Team Fortress 2, and I also played as Zarya before, and she was actually very fun to use in the game, especially with like her black hole tank cannon. No, seriously, that thing actually somehow holds a black hole in it. I don't know how. And let's be honest here, ever since Tracer vs. Scout, we all wanted more Team Fortress 2 versus Overwatch death battles, and why not do it with Heavy versus Zarya? And don't you dare lie to me, we all wanted at least one season with at least another Overwatch versus Team Fortress 2 death battle. I see you in the comments. I see you outside the screen. I know you want another death battle of Overwatch versus Team Fortress 2. You can't lie to me. Okay, little outburst aside, I really do hope one day they actually make this death battle, because not only was it nostalgic for my childhood, but also because both these games hold a special place in my heart, and I really do hope they get another upbringing that they truly deserve. Hence why it's at number 3. And now we're on number 2, which is Atom versus Homelander. And this one was rather a recently most wanted death battle that I wanted, for actually now a couple of reasons. For one, It's Davenport Industries versus Volt, which is honestly kind of funny to me since one's good, the other one is corrupted, just like in real life. Not only that, both of these two are actually similar. Both of them have super strength, incredible durability, but key difference is, one of them's evil. Oh, who am I kidding? That one is a psychopath. The other one is a lovable idiot. And yes, it is another good versus evil, and brains versus brawn. I know someone's in the comments gonna say, well, both of these two are brawn characters. I don't care, I said what I said, and no, I will not rephrase it. However, there is one thing I am gonna say. I was genuinely happy when I saw this, because Lab Rats was actually a great part of my childhood, and Adam was actually my favorite character of all time. And after seeing this and other death battles that were made for Adam, I was so glad to see that Lab Rats was not forgotten, and that it's also too wanted for a death battle, which actually makes me happy. Anyway, personal notes aside, I genuinely do see Death Battle doing this, possibly as like a redemption match for Homelander, or to slander how the final season of The Boys went. Yeah, that shit was major ass. And genuinely, this is me speaking here, I see them going three ways. Everyone knows about the first two, which is just like 2D animation or 3D animation, but I personally see this either as a live action battle, with them possibly getting the actual actors for Homelander and Adam duking it out, or having to try to find people that actually look similar to both of these characters, which is most likely the secondary option. And frankly, I actually do not mind. I actually would like to see that death battle. I don't care if it's like 2D animation, 3D, or even live action, because I actually see this working out as live action. And remember how I said both of these two characters are similar? Yeah, fun fact, Adam also has laser vision. Yeah, that's right, the lovable doofus here has heat vision. Same as Homelander. But he has a bit more tricks up his sleeve. But I want you guys to find out for yourselves what he can do. I don't want to spoil too much of the fun. But I will give credit where credit is due. Homelander can outsmart Adam, since Adam has the misfortune of being a stereotypical dumb musclehead. But a musclehead we all know and love. Also, a bit of a side note here. I frankly am glad to see that there are so many death battles of forgotten franchises out there that people actually want to see, from both overrated, underrated, and fairly rated characters. And for me, this is one of those moments, because Lab Rats really does hold a special place in my heart, since it got me through a lot of tough times during my childhood, and I am so glad to see that it's still getting love even after the show ended nearly a decade ago. Anyway, I yapped on for too long. And now you know why this is at number 2. I don't need to say anymore. Alright, now let's get to some honorable mentions. Bitch, you thought we're going straight to number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, all neutral genders, or whatever you go by, I apologize if I can't name them all. We are at number 1, Joe Yabuki versus Ippo Makanauchi.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to laugh my ass off and stop recording for a bit because that was kind of funny to me. I tried doing the Dark Mario voice, but anyway, enough about that. Yeah, number 1 is Joe Yabuki versus Ippo Makanauchi. I know you're surprised that it's not Little Mac, but it's for a good reason. Number 1, not only did Devil Artemis beat them to the punchline, it was actually the most accurate thing I have seen. Since Little Mac wins, mid, low / no difficulty. 2, this fight is more even for a number of reasons, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's start off with basics. Number 1 on why I want this death battle is because, well, we haven't had a boxing death battle since Balrog versus TJ Combo, and no, Little Mac versus Ippo does not count. That's a 1-minute melee at best. Number 2, both of these two actually had faced off in video game wise concept, and also they actually have a rivalry within their anime communities. And that's not even a joke, I dare you to look it up. And number 3, this is where the evenness actually comes in. Both of these two are actually evenly matched in terms of boxing power. I know someone's gonna mention, oh, but Joe fought someone who can take down a bull. Yeah, well, Ippo fought someone who can take out a bear and lift up small trucks. You tell me which is more impressive. Also, another thing I wanted to mention, both of these two actually have similar boxing fundamentals, but with a bit of a minor difference. Okay, something similar is that both of these two are actually infighters, with Joe being, well, a brawler, which is a type of infighting style, and Ippo being a peekaboo fighter, which is actually, again, an infighting style. But key difference is, Ippo is rather cautious, while Joe is reckless and bold. That's not even a joke, I actually seen it happen. Also, as a bit of a bonus, the reason why these two are actually evenly matched is that both of these two are damn near superhuman, which actually makes sense if you watch both their animes. Both of them actually have some similar feats in terms of strength and a bit of speed, and sometimes a bit of durability, but nowhere near endurance. That one goes to Joe. And this one is actually basically a coin toss, which would actually be pretty fun, considering the fact that Death Battle has done something similar with TJ Combo versus Balrog, where they had to rely on their skill set and the triangle theory. Yeah, fun fact, boxing does have a bit of a triangle theory, aka the rock, paper, scissors theory, but that's a story for another day. Also, I actually see them going for like either a pixelated matchup or 2D matchup. 3D might be a bit of a stretch, to be honest. As for how the matchup will go, again, this is basically a coin toss, and everything that I mentioned earlier, such as the rock, paper, scissors theory, aka the triangle theory, might come into play, and I really hope they bring back that fundamental again, because that was actually pretty fun for them to explain. Anyway, in all seriousness, the real reason why this is at number 1 wasn't just because I want another boxing death battle, is because both of these two actually do have a legendary rivalry within the anime boxing community. I'm not even joking on that part. And I genuinely want Death Battle to make more boxing themed battles because they're really fun to watch and they're incredible to see. I know someone's gonna say that boxing is a bit tricky and complex, to which I already know for one. And 2, I know how hard animation must be. And as a wise skeleton overlord once said, people who do that for a living deserve more credit and respect. But still, I would love to see Death Battle actually make more boxing themed battles because they're really fun to watch, especially if you watch TJ Combo versus Balrog. That shit was legendary. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. I had to give my respect to my animators. Shout out to y'all! But in all seriousness, the real reason why I wanted this death battle wasn't just because it's actually a balanced death battle, which is very rare, but it's also because I'm kind of a little embarrassed to say this, but no, who am I kidding? I'm not embarrassed at all. I watched Hamajime no Ippo, an underrated boxing anime. And that anime changed my life forever. It introduced me to boxing and what I can actually expect to happen to boxing. Both the good, the bad, and the dirty, and the gold. Holy crap, I'm turning into Dr. Seuss. Okay, sorry about that. I got a little sidetracked there. Anyway, as I was saying, Hamajime no Ippo was actually an anime I watched in high school, and after watching it and finishing it and seeing everything that comes with boxing, it made me wonder if I could do it. And it inspired me to actually start my boxing journey, my boxing arc. So I figured, why not put the anime that started it all at number 1? Not only that, it actually has something that I really wanted, a boxing death battle. So it only made sense to put it at number 1. And now that concludes, well, everything. My top 10 most wanted death battles that I want. I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10 most wanted death battles, because oh boy, did this take me an entire month's worth of planning and exhausting myself both mentally as well as physically. But I say it's worth it just to entertain you guys. And there's also something that I want to discuss. The 3 updates for this channel. Number one, whenever I make a video for you guys, I'm gonna do it at my own pace, since making these videos does take a long time and it can get very stressful. So whenever I make a video such as my next stop motion, I'm gonna actually take my time with it so I don't end up stressing myself out and causing a literal argument within my own head. Yes, I just heard myself, and no, I will not rephrase it. Anyway, number two is going to be me making motivational shorts for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. However, it's not just going to be for the men, it's going to be for everyone who needs a bit of motivation in their life. Let's be honest, we all need motivation every now and then, especially from the people around us, but sometimes they aren't always there to give us that motivation. So I figured, why not help out to give at least a little bit of motivation, not just for the strong, but for the weak too. So that way we can all push forward to our goals. So that way none of us give up on what we believe in, on what we want the most. I want to help people to see that they're not the bad guy, that they're not alone in this journey of mental health, that there's someone out there that cares enough about them. And that's what I'm going to do for the entirety of June. And I'm going to be doing it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the entirety of June. Yes, I'm doing it on specific days because you know how YouTube be sometimes. They're going to think I'm a bot spamming. And now to conclude this, we're going on to number 3. Oh, who am I kidding? You already know number 3. Number 3 is going to be, I'm going to be working on my first stop motion story, and you guys can vote, which you already did, and it's going to be my work stories, winning 50% of the votes. What a shock. While I am disappointed that Pokemon didn't win, I can still live with this. And with that, we conclude today's video. I hope you guys have a great summer vacation, and thank you all for 329 subscribers. You guys are literally the best fans any guy could ask for. Anyway, have a nice day or night, and see you next time.